So magandang araw sa inyo lahat. Ako nga pala si Vince Clifford B. Orais sa makikita nyo sa aking Google account. At sa araw na ito ay papakita ko sa inyo kung paano gawin yung developing SQL database, Serializable and Snapshot. So introduction, the Serializable and Snapshot module provides you with instruction and devices to develop your hands-on skills on the following topics. So working with serializable isolation level and working with snapshot isolation level. And without further ado, let's go right next to the next page. Chart. Exercise 1. Working with serializable isolation level. The system of locking that works between SQL transaction in the database is controlled or determined by the isolation level. There are various isolation levels in SQL Server apart from serializable and snapshot. The other levels are as follows. So read uncommitted. This is the level lowest isolation level in the level you can modify the data when the extract is running. And repeatable read. This is similar to the read committed level. However, if you execute two select statements in a single transaction, the result will be the same of the both statement. And read committed. This is the default isolation level in SQL Server. The select statement returns only committed data from the database. In this exercise, you will work with serializable isolation level. This level is an extension of repeatable read, and the database engine will wait and the transaction are completed, and the only an update or insert transaction will execute from the data. So task 1, execute select and insert statement into simultaneous session and table without index. In this task, you will perform the following action. Create a new table named dim product temp without primary key. Library the table will not have any index, and fill the table with records. Display all records from the dim product temp table. Create session 1 transaction query with multiple select statements, and create session 2 transaction every with an insert statement. Query pala. So step 1, as always, turn on your PLAB SQL Server 1. Then step 2, open your Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio and select server type database engine and server name PLAB SQL Server 1. So default na yan, so connect na lang. So step 3, expand database and select AdventureWorks DW 2016 CTP3 for step 4. And step 5, create a new query. So just X that properties, and don't forget to select it to AdventureWorks because sometimes it chooses master. So step 6, from the new query, just copy paste. Yan, copy then paste. This query checks if the table name dim productive exists in the database or not. If it exists, the table deleted and the new table will be the name in is created. The new table will have two columns, namely product key and list price. Ayan. So nag-check siya kung naka-exist na ba siya o hindi. Yan, command completed successfully. So step 7, gawa ulit kayo ng new query. Then just copy paste. This query imports records into the dim product table from the dim product table. So nag-i-import siya ng record from one place to another, which is dim product temp to dim product table. Yan. So just click execute to press F5. So yan yung mga na-import galing sa one place to another, which is yung dim product to dim product table. Then step 8, gawa ulit yung new query, then just copy paste. Copy paste with the word the happier place, char. So ayan, naka-display na itong code na to ang magdi-display ng lahat ng records sa dim product table. So as you can see, yan mga product key at list price. So yan yung mga nasa loob ng records. So step 9, gawa ulit yung new query, then just copy paste. Yan lang solusyon sa buhay. Just copy and paste. So, recall the dim product team table does not have any index. Consider the query is session 1. In this query, the transaction isolation label is set to serialization. There are two select statements that are executing transaction with a delay of 15 seconds between each execution. So, mag-i-execute ng code at ma-delay siya ng 15 seconds. So, nakikita nyo, wala pang lumalabas pag execute natin. So, notice the results. Pane shows an empty result. Then, after 15 minutes, lalabas na siya. So, antayin lang natin konti. And, ayan. So, makikita nyo dito. Wala siyang loob. Pero dito mayroon. So, nandito pala, step 10. So, ayan. Makikita nyo step 10. Pareho lang. After ng 15 seconds delay, napakita na siya. So, step 11, gawa tayo ulit ang new query. Then, just copy-paste. As always. Copy then paste. So consider the query as session 2. The transaction isolation label is set to serializable. The query inserts a record into the name product tables. Sorry, naka-burp ako. So ayan, one row affected. The query successfully. So task 2, execute select and insert statements into simulation sessions on the table with index. In this task, you will perform the following actions. Create a new table named dim product temp with primary key. Thereby, the table will have an index. Fill the table with records. Display all the records from the dim product table. Create session 1 transaction query with multiple selects. And create session 2 with an insert element. Step 1, gawa ulit yung new query. And as always, copy-paste. Yan lang sekreto sa buhay. Just copy and paste. So, ayan. Naguluhan ako konti kay akala ko dalawa yung nagawa kong new query. So, copy-paste. Yan. This query checks if the table name dim product key exists in the database. So, so ito yung pareha sa nauna. Kine-check niya kung naka-exist na ba o hindi. Tapos kapag naka-check siya is i-delete yun, tapos igawa siya ng bago at ipakita yung product key at list product. Yun yung natatandaan ko sa unang code natin. So ayan. So product key and list price pala, sorry. So press execute or F5. So ayan, command completed successfully. So step 2, gawa ulit yun ng new query and just copy paste. Yun na bago moto natin, just copy and paste. Yan, copy and paste. So this query inserts a record into the dim product temp table from dim product table. So from temp table, ipapasa niya sa table pa rin. So step 3, gawa tayo ulit yung new query. Then just copy paste. Yan, copy and paste. So the query inserts a record into the dim product table. So mag-insert siya na record. So just press execute F5. So ang gawa natin, then the query runs successfully and the result is displayed. Yan, so execute natin. So one row affected. So step 4, gawa ulit yung ng new query. Copy and paste. The query display all the records from the dim product table. So, i-display niya lahat ng record by ascending order, yes. From small to large o from small number to large number, yan, ascending. So, step 5, gawa tayo ulit ng new query, then just copy paste. Yan, copy and paste. So, recall the dim product has been indexed. Consider the transaction as session 1. The query transaction solution label is set to Releasable. There are two select statement execution. The query is delayed for 15 seconds between each execution. So, execute natin. So, may 15 seconds delay siya. So, antay lang ulit natin. Mapapakita rin siya. Di katulad ng X natin. Char. So, ayan. Wait lang. Ayan, napakita na siya. So, from ascending order again. So, dalawa yun. Kasi dalawang select. So, step 6, gawa ng new query and copy paste. Consider the transaction as session 2. This query inserts a record from the dim product table. So, mag-insert ulit siya ng record sa dim product table. Yan yung gagawin ng code na yan. Then, execute. So, one row affected. So, the query was successfully. Then, on to the next page. Exercise 2. Okay, tignan muna natin kung mataas ba. So, exercise 2, working with snapshot isolation level. In the snapshot isolation level, other queries can interact with the snapshot-based transaction. However, if the queries are modifying the data, the old version of the data is stored in the temp database. Thus, the data gets modified in the database with the snapshot transaction running, but the changes of the data are stored in SQL Server resources. So, gagawa tayo ng new table, tapos i-overwrite yung parang old table. Then, save siya sa temp table. So, task 1, implementing snapshot isolation level and SQL transaction. So, in this task, you will perform the following. Enable the database to work with snapshot isolation level. Check whether the temp product temp table exists. If it exists, delete it and create it again. So, number 3, fill the records temp product temp table from the temp product based on the where clause. Create session 1 transaction to update the records in dim product temp table. The transaction is not committed. And create session 2 transaction, display the records of dim product table. The transaction is not committed. Commit session 1 to transaction. So step 1, new query again, and just copy paste as always. The query enables the AdventureWorks database to work with snapshot isolation. So ina-enable niya yung active mode ng snapshot isolation. Ayan, so command complete successfully. Then step 2, gawa ulit ng new query. Then just copy paste. Copy paste lang. Yan, copy paste. So this query checks if the dim product table. So ito ulit katulad ng page 2, i-check na yung nag-exist na ba, at kung nag-exist i-delete niya, tapos papalitan niya. Yes, papalitan niya, pero same lang yung file. Tapos nasa file na yon is yung product key at list price. So ayan, product key and list price. So step 3, gawa ulit ng new query and copy paste as you know. So on this query, the transaction isolation level is set to snapshot. Consider this transaction as session 1. The update statement update the list price and column values and the dim product table. Note, an important point, the transaction is not committed in the session 1. So hindi pa siya committed. So kapag nag-code tayo, mukhang hindi pa siya ma-update. So 395 rows affected, hinahanap niya. So step 4, gawa ng new query, and yes, ano gagawin? Diba? Copy paste lang. Yun ang sagot sa lahat ng problema. In the query, the transaction isolation level is set to snapshot. Consider the transaction level 2. The select snapshot displays always the record of the dim product table. So, excuse me. So, i-display niya ang records ng dim product table. So, just press execute or F5. So, ayan, nakikita nyo na yung product key at list price niya. So, step 5. In the query windows of the session transaction where the update statement is written, comment the entire query. Okay, sorry, nabulol ako. So just copy paste, commit the entire query, and the type only commit at the end of query as indicated. So hahanapin nyo yung may commit kanina. So hanapin muna natin. Medyo naliligaw ako. So ayan, hanap ko pa. So wait lang guys, taasan yung pasensya nyo. So tignan natin. So hanapin natin dito, baka nandito. Okay, naglalag siya. Nakuhuli yung indicator natin. Ayan. Na mukhang nagluloko siya. So, ayan. So, hindi yan. So ayan, nakita natin yung update dim product. So i-replace lang natin, execute, and command complete successfully. So step 6, open the core window session 2 transaction where the select statement is written. So ito select naman kanina yung update. So ngayon select. So copy paste at i-replace. Ganda yun ah. So in this square, the complete statement will completely reflect the table. Thus you changes the table. Just commit both in the transaction to reflect the changes in the table. Okay. So ika-copy, paste, and replace. Good rhyme. So hanapin natin yung may select yan. Kita natin. So copy, paste, replace. Yan. So press execute F5. So ayan. So rerun the query and click execute, press F5. Then the list price column shows the updated value of 212. So nakikita nyo lahat ng list price may 212. So tapos yan, close all windows. Yay! Tapos na tayo. Good job guys, good job. So summary, you'll cover the following activities in this module: working with serialization isolation level and working with the snapshot isolation level. So yun lang sa ngayon guys. Sana nakasabay kayo sa akin kahit na may pagkabulol at mabilis akong masalita. At yun lang. Paalam. Goodbye.